we're going up in a steep power law. This is on a logarithmic timeline, so it's really steep. Gold is losing its value. Bitcoin is gaining exponentially relative to gold. And so we have all this gold. We're saving in the wrong asset. And currently, one Bitcoin is 36 ounces of gold. Well, used to be that a Bitcoin wasn't even 1 ounce of gold. Now it's 36 ounces of gold. If this Bitcoin reserve happens, the one thing is Bitcoin price is going to go much higher. And not just like 20%, 50% higher, but higher by a multiple. This could get Bitcoin to 500,000 almost overnight.
The U.S. government's potential adoption of a Bitcoin strategic reserve could ignite a massive rally, potentially driving Bitcoin's price to an astonishing $500,000. This bold prediction comes from Fred Krueger, a veteran mathematician and Bitcoin maximalist. The concept of a Bitcoin strategic reserve has fueled growing optimism among investors about the asset's long-term potential. Fred suggests that the U.S. could sell part of its gold reserves to invest in Bitcoin, arguing that Bitcoin is appreciating in value, while gold is an outdated store of wealth. He believes that shifting to a Bitcoin reserve could not only catapult Bitcoin's price to $500,000 but also secure America's economic dominance for the next century. Stay tuned until the end of the video, as Fred Krueger shares more fascinating insights into Bitcoin's future.
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
What is a strategic Bitcoin reserve? Well, the SBR is an idea that was sort of floated around the time of Bitcoin Nashville, and there were certain versions of this that were Senator Loomis of Wyoming mentioned that we might want to have a Bitcoin reserve where we stockpile Bitcoin, and then the exact form of this was not completely determined before, and it still isn't determined, but wasn't even discussed before Nashville event in Bitcoin. RFK Jr. came out and said, we need to get to 1 million Bitcoin in this strategic Bitcoin reserve. And so how do we get there? Well, we have to take all the Bitcoin that we currently have, confiscated from Silk Road and other places, and put it into this Bitcoin reserve, right? That's the first thing. Now, then after that, we have to go buy Bitcoin, by printing dollars and buying Bitcoin. Now, Trump came out, this is when he was still a presidential candidate, came out and said, I support the idea of a Bitcoin stockpile, and I'm not gonna sell our Bitcoin that we already have ever for 20 years. And that was a great thing. Everybody was applauding it, yay. He didn't mention specifically accumulating more Bitcoin, but now we have some new proposals. And, Loomis again is now talking about selling some gold that we have and buying Bitcoin with it. There's other kind of, I won't get into the technicalities, but other ways of acquiring more Bitcoin. So I think this is a great idea. Why do I think this is a great idea? Well, let me pull up a few charts here. I love putting up these charts. And the first is that, relative to gold, right? This is a log chart, right? Which says that Bitcoin is a power law relative to gold. And this comes from my friend Money or Debt. And so we're going up in a steep power law. This is on a logarithmic timeline, so it's really steep. Gold is losing its value very much, almost exponentially relative to gold. Bitcoin is gaining exponentially relative to gold. And so we have all this gold. We're saving in the wrong asset. And currently, one Bitcoin is 36 ounces of gold. Well, used to be that a Bitcoin wasn't even 1 ounce of gold. Now it's 36 ounces of gold. So we're saving in the wrong asset. Now, how much gold do we have? We have about 247 million ounces of gold. And over half of that is sitting in Fort Knox. And the second half is combined between Denver and West Point, where you have guards that are just watching over this gold stockpile. I think just selling the Fort Knox part, 147 million. Now, if we sell it and go to Bitcoin, we're not going to get it at Bitcoin 100,000, but that's okay. We're going to get it at Bitcoin, let's say 300,000. But that will get us to 1 million, 1.3 million Bitcoin. Then we, the United States, become the new Satoshi. So this is an amazing thing. And now between Coinbase, which holds all the Bitcoin of the ETFs, and Michael Saylor, MSTR, and the US, we would now be the absolute dominating force in Bitcoin. And that would give us an advantage really for the next 100 years. So I think it would be a fantastic thing to do. So anyways, that's my episode on the strategic Bitcoin reserve. I think it's a fantastic idea. We can debate, how do we do it? Do we sort of tell people we're going to do it and then do it? Well, people might front run us. Do we just start going ahead and selling some gold? We can debate that, but I think it's a very good idea. And I think if this Bitcoin reserve happens, the one thing is Bitcoin price is going to go much, much, much higher. And not just like 20%, 50% higher, but higher by a multiple. It could go to, as our friend Zach says, Zach Resnick says, this could get Bitcoin to 500,000 almost overnight. So it changes the game. It really is all your models are broken. And, it might even break the power law model. Yeah, so it may. But anyways, the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, that's the one thing more than anything else we want out of this new administration.
Sławomir Mencen, a presidential candidate in Poland, is pledging to transform the country into a cryptocurrency haven if elected in May 2025. Central to his vision is the creation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve, echoing similar proposals by Donald Trump for the U.S. Mencen's plan underscores the growing optimism around Bitcoin as more nations and leaders recognize cryptocurrency's potential. Establishing Bitcoin as a national asset could not only boost its value but also cement its role in the global financial system. What do you think? Should countries adopt Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset? Share your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's dive back into the video as Fred Krueger delves deeper into this topic.
If you think about most companies, they start at a kind of valuation of around $1 million. That's kind of like two guys just say, I'm going to start a company, $1 million, sort of your sort of standard, two guys, two fries, doing a startup. So let's just say we go from $1 million to $1 trillion. That's a million X. So Bitcoin did that in 12 years, right? Meta, which is Facebook, did it in 17 years. Tesla did it in 18 years. Alphabet, Google did it in 2 years. Amazon in 24, Nvidia in 31, Apple in 42, Microsoft in 44, Berkshire Hathaway in 69, and Saudi Aramco in 86. So if we look at the CAGR to go from $1 million to $1 trillion in that kind of period, you can see that Bitcoin, the average CAGR is 176. It doesn't mean the CAGR today is 176. We'll actually talk about that. It's more like 40 right now, but yeah. So it gives you an idea. And also Berkshire Hathaway, their overall CAGR is great. It's 19%, but it's not something like 50% or anything like that either. So that's kind of, that gives you an idea. Okay, next. So of all these things, Bitcoin is the fastest horse, the fastest thing that's gone to $1 trillion. The power law, we're going to show that a little bit, it's on track to be worth $1 million in 10 years. So it is the fastest growing one of these platforms that the world has ever seen. Okay, now, what's the use case? Why is Bitcoin so desirable? Well, the way I look at it is really has four kind of key use cases. First of all, it's money that you can keep securely away from the government or your ex-wife or a lawyer or somebody that may hurt you, a business partner. So it's private, right? It's secure money. The second is you can take that money, you can send it anywhere really quickly. And third is it can be converted to any local currency very quickly. There's these rails to everything. If I'm in Nigeria, I could convert it. If I'm in Peru, I could convert it. In the U.S., I can convert it. So it's money that's transportable across countries. And because of the construction, it's money that tends to increase in value over time. So it's really an amazing use case for actually wanting to have actual Bitcoin. I say it's the ultimate use case among all use cases, because being able to store your money safe from everybody, to send it around, to have it go up in value is just, it's almost like magic fairy dust. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? So has this been successful? Yeah, it's a power law. So if you plot it in log terms, you notice that it goes up pretty regularly. And with sort of lower volatility, which means the peaks are getting a little bit lower around the line. And it's growing at about a 5.7 power versus time. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So, but there are other power laws, as it turns out. There's Microsoft as a power law. It grew at about a 4.9 power for 49 years. And it's still growing. It's still going up. The price is still going up. It's becoming more and more valuable, but it's growing less than Bitcoin. And Apple is also a power law, especially after jobs returned. If you look at it from the inception, a little messy, but once job returned in 1998, on a log scale, we're starting to see some dots really line up. We have a 97% correlation for this kind of period. So, I'm not completely, I'm not trying to win any Nobel Prizes here. So, if Giovanni says, well, it's not a power law, I'll say it is to me for this period. And all I care about is, can I predict the next dot? That's the only thing I care about. The rest is conversation. So why should I buy Bitcoin and not some of these other things? Well, it has the highest compound annual growth rate right now. All these other assets took longer than Bitcoin to get to $1 trillion. So that means they have less power overall. On top of that, they're older. So the power that they did have is going down. Even with Apple, which got a jolt in 1998, and which is now, if you look at it kind of just on that trend, is trading at a 9 power. Because it's so old, it's now trading at effectively a 22% CAGR. So Bitcoin is 2 times that. So Bitcoin really is the best performing asset in the world. So the historical perspective on this is you have these major events: steel, oil, business software, consumer software. They're all kind of power laws, and the latest is Bitcoin.
Bitcoin has skyrocketed from just 10 cents in 2010 to over $100,000 this month, achieving unparalleled growth in just 14 years. It has increased in value by 1 million times, reaching $1 trillion market cap faster than any other asset in history. According to Fred, Bitcoin's growth trajectory aligns with a power law, showcasing its consistent and explosive upward momentum. Its compound annual growth rate surpasses every other asset, solidifying its status as the best-performing financial vehicle ever created. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.